Hello, hi everyone. Kelvin here from London. I review all sorts of stereo equipment, young and old, and all I want to do is find out things that sound good. Gonna do a thing today, or say what I think, and you can tell me what you think in the comments. What's the difference between the British sound, European sound, American sound? I mean, I'm pretty sure there are differences, which I know. And also, like, well, why is that? What made that happen? And what is the difference in the sound? I can tell you the difference in the sound probably, but why is another interesting question. So the first thing that came into my head was like, is the British living room smaller than the American living room? Because I'm pretty sure it is. And I'm not really sure how, if it's bigger. I would say the European living room's probably bigger than the British living room. So this sort of thing might play a part. But anyway, I'll just tell you what we've got here, amps, and then we'll just go into detail, yeah? So, Sugden A48, 50 watts a channel. Gorgeous amp, gorgeous, one of my favourite amps. That's British. Grundig, that's German. R1000 receiver. A lot of buttons. 1980, a lot of buttons. One thing about the Europeans, I think, is it wasn't so much, it was a lot to do with good looking things in living rooms, like the whole family would be involved in the sound thing. It wasn't just like, at home in your bedroom, and then I've got Marantz to represent the Americans. Apparently, Sol Marantz, that's the guy, designed the first Marantz amp in Kew Gardens in New York. So anyway, that's just representatives really. So British makes, just to quickly do it: Quad, Sugden, Kef, Celestion, NAD, Monitor Audio, Lin. European makes Sonab, Grundig, Bang & Olufsen, Tandberg, Philips. American amps, Acoustic Research, Cerwin Vega, is that how you say it? KLH, Macintosh, Marantz. Okay, what's the British sound? This is the one that I kind of know best, The British sound to me is the most like a monitor sound. Is definitely not going to do anything that isn't right, which the Europeans might definitely do. The Europeans might give you a bit of a bass boost, I would say. So the British sound is more monitorish, a big player in this sound. I mean, okay, here's the thing. I mean, you could put it down to temperament. Like the British do not like anything flamboyant. They don't like anything flash or incorrect. Could be something like this. And the other big player, I would say, in Britain, of course, is this the BBC. Because the British Broadcast Corporation, certainly back in the 70s, 80s, it was like just one down from God in how respected it was and what a sort of leader it was. And they did loads of work on creating early monitors because they were publicly funded. They spent a ton of money trying to get these sounds right, that they could have speakers all over the country that all sounded exactly the same. So that would have I wonder if that sort of monitor idea leached out of the BBC and into the general hi-fi world, or whether it was just the what the British like to hear. And as I say, I can't be sure I know these things, so tell me what you think. But so the British sound is like that. It's more like a monitor. It's accurate. It doesn't boost anything. It's not particularly bright. It's never shouty and loud in the mid-range. It's polite. You could call it polite, Okay. And the rooms are quite small. Yeah, just remember that. I think that's a thing. Let's try and do this. European sound. So I'm thinking that the European, as I said before, I particularly think of Bang & Olufsen. They're really nice looking things. It's part of the family world, And the European sound is really the smoothest, easiest to listen to sound. You know, there is nothing, there's never harshness in that sound. They probably boost the bass. I mean, this thing and other things like it that I've had, they feel like it's like if you had a loudness knob, it's like they just turned the loudness up a bit. It's like they're almost made with a bit of loudness and a slightly recessed mid-range, but lots of nice detail. You know what I mean? Like class, you know what I mean? European stuff is, you know, whenever I see European stuff and I think what is some Philips thing or Telefunken or something like this, Blaupunkt, I always think, that might sound really good because, you know, they weren't doing bad hi-fi. They just weren't doing it. But the British did do a bit of bad hi-fi, you know, Teleton and Alba, maybe Amstrad, things like that. So, you know, the European sound, you know, maybe it's made for the whole family. It's got to be easy listening. Can't be annoying. The whole family's going to be there. It's going to be part of the, you know, that kind of thing. Very smooth. The other thing worth saying, Norway, Denmark, they make loads of stuff. Norway, I think, particularly makes a lot of drivers, you know, just the individual woofers and tweeters. And I was thinking about this because Norway is quite, you know, it's quite far north. They have those long winters. The houses are quite set apart, you know, but they're not all living on top of each other. And in my imagination, you know, I'm imagining there's someone who's like living on a lake and he has to go for this long winter in Norway where it gets dark all the time or light all the time, whatever it is. And he wants to have a damn good hi-fi that's gonna entertain him when it's horrible, you know. So it better be good and it better be sweet sounding and not you know, tireless. You just listen to that all day. So that's you know, they do make a lot of stuff. Norway, Sweden, Denmark, they make tons of the gear, you know, and lots of speakers. So it's kind of the home of that type of hi-fi. So it must have something to do with that locality, I would have thought. Okay, the American sound. I mean, you know, you tell me what you think this is about because I'm just guessing here from the top of my head. American sound. I am thinking bigger rooms, yeah? And I'm thinking those big JBL speakers, you know. And I'm thinking in a big room, like that European sound, that Bang & Olufsen sound with its recessed mid-range, it might not cut through very good. You know, it just might not cut through. Also, I imagine those Norwegians and Europeans having sort of wooden floors. So that will sort of enhance the mid-range. So if your mid-range is a bit quiet, it'll enhance it. So then I think if there's Americans, they've got bigger rooms. You want to fill this room with a bit more mid-range. So the Americans' speakers and sound has more activity in the middle. Just a bit more activity in the middle. And that will make a big difference to how it can fill a space, you know. I mean, like JBL have these metal dome tweeters, which they've had for years. The British don't really like those that much, you know. They don't go down, but that seems to work okay in America. And maybe they've got more furnishings, or they just need it to cut through better, you know, and they just need it to, they're 20 feet away from the speakers, something like that. Anyway, this is a load of guesswork on my part. I mean, these sounds do, I mean, there are clear differences in these nations' sounds. And anyway, just tell me what you think, you know, and we'll try and get to the bottom of it. Okay, thanks. Bye for now.